Hey folks, so this is a walkthrough video. It's a very low budget walkthrough video for the sound pack authoring tool that I built in Reactor, which is, well, it's a tool that I used to make the sound packs that are in the beta app already, and for the time being it's going to be the de facto way to design sounds for future sound packs. Eventually, the idea is to integrate this into some kind of desktop version of Endless that will allow you to author sound packs and edit sound packs within the sort of the live collaborative Endless workflow, etc. But we're a way off that yet. So without further ado, I'll try and make this make as much sense as possible, but it might be a little rambly because I basically did zero preparation, and unfortunately I'm trying to squeeze in like a zillion things. So the way this is laid out, you've got, well, down the side here, you've just got some sort of basic the stuff that you see in the settings cogs page. It just gives you a the basic kind of controls over quantize and scale and stuff like that. And then down here, obviously, you've got a sort of vaguely endless looking pad grid, which you can use with the mouse. You can also, down here, you can use MIDI learn, and you can't see this because it's off screen, but I've also got an NI Machiner controller, which I have mapped to this, so I can also tweak stuff physically, which kind of helps. So it might be worth when you download it to MIDI learn all these knobs, because you've got all the tweak knobs and so on. So I can tweak stuff manually. It just makes the sound design process slightly more enjoyable. So yeah, here you've got the pads, and you've got with many E's, a very rudimentary way to sort of test out the looping. You can only make one loop at a time, and once you've made a loop, you can't hear any other sound. So I mean, it's super rudimentary, but it gives you it allows you to get a very basic feel for how the sounds will behave in sequences. So the way you do that is, you've got this waveform loop display, a bit like the multi-looper. You just click in one of the panels, and then when you want to stop it, you just click reset. And then up here, you've got the tweak knobs, which you see under the card in Endless, and you've got the 2 pages here. Obviously, they don't swipe because there's no way I'm going to spend the time making the Reactor interface swipe. So this basically here, this whole section here is kind of like what you see in the app. So you've got all the functionality you've got in the app. You've got the pads, you've got the looper, you've got the tweak knobs, and here you've got the sound selector. So this is actually this is the version of it that I use to program all the notes. So you can actually hear, this is cortado, this is eardrop, this is reveal, etc. So yes, and then basically outside this, you've got all the stuff, all the tools you need in a very clunky fashion to edit and save sounds and packs, and also to navigate between the 3 different engines. So you've got the bass, the notes, and the drums engines at the moment. And I think that click with a little bug. I think that's actually been solved since. Oh, for God's sake. Is that going to work? Yeah. Right. So here, let's start with the pack editor and the pack store. So up here, you've got various different packs which have been saved, and as you can see, some of them have got different combinations of bass and note sounds, etc. So for the time being, we're looking for packs that are all of one type. So this is like an all notes pack. That one doesn't do anything. That one doesn't do anything. Oh, right. So this is a notes pack, and this one, for example, is a bass pack. And I think somewhere here we've got a drum pack. Yeah, so this one. So basically here is where you can collect together a bunch of different sounds into a pack, and the way you do that is you go into, so currently you're selecting the different sounds in the pack. To edit the sounds, you go into edit mode, you select a sound here from the preset store, I say this one for example, and then let's say you want to set this one to sound 2, you just click there. If you want to add another sound, click there, choose a sound, put it there, etc. I mean, it is rudimentary, but it works. So go into edit mode, select your sound, click the pad that you want to put the sound on. It is, as you can see, it is possible to have 2 pads with the same sound on. Obviously in a final pack, this is not what we're looking for. But you'll figure it out. And then go out of edit mode, and that gives you a pack. And then if you want to save your pack to the pack store, just click append, and it adds the pack to the end there. In Reactor, it is basically impossible. Naming things is basically impossible. So unfortunately, you'll have to keep track of stuff using cryptic numbers. Yes, good luck with that, unfortunately. But it does, I mean, you can, it is usable, and you can keep track of it in the end. So just another quick run through of other features of basically all the stuff that creates packs and sounds. You can append stuff. So let's say here I'll initialize this pack, and then I'll go into edit mode, and I'll set up a sort of a bass pack, etc. And then I'll append that to the end. That's my pack. But then I can delete it. So to delete a pack, you just select on it, select it, and delete it. I won't use initialize here because, be very careful of this initialize button, because you could very easily lose everything, and I'm afraid there is no undo, because that is also probably like another week's work of data structures to put in undo. So basically don't use the initialize because you will lose everything. But if you do want to, well, so what I will do, I will save this as, save Ensemble as, sound pack authoring tool vid, example. So I'll save this to a new thing, and then I'll just initialize everything. So there we go, that's all my pack's gone. And I'll initialize all the bass sounds, so there's no bass sounds anymore. Go out of edit, I'll initialize the pack. I'll initialize notes. I'll initialize drums. Alright. Yeah, okay. Baptism of fire. So once you've initialized that, let's look at sound. So let's say I want to make a bass sound now. So fortunately, I still have a sample in here. So let's say I wanted to change that sample. I would basically go anywhere. Well, let's just put .wav in. Plasma reader. Okay, well that sample came up, so let's just get plasma reader. Reader .wav. And drop it on the sample pad area, and then it uploads that sound for you. So you can then play that. This still has the settings of the old sound, and here is where you set up the sound. So let's say I'll change the envelope settings. It's the same setting. We'll make it more attacky, etc. Change the filter cutoff and the resonance, etc. I mean, they're super self-explanatory. I mean, you'll get to grips with these controls very quickly. There is nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, it is super vanilla. So don't expect loads of fun and modulation and routing settings, because this is literally the best we could do with our very thinly spread but highly talented developer resources. People, actual people who breathe and live and love. So you can double click on these knobs to default them. But I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Oh yeah, you can change the filter type. Just drag up and down. Totally unintuitive interaction there, but there you go. Up here you can see you've got these macro knobs. And as you can see here, this macro knob is already assigned to pitch. So to make assignment, so you've got 6 macro knobs up here, which can be assigned in various amounts to any of these knobs. Not all of these knobs, because the loop start, loop length, tune, and tune knobs you can't assign. But basically, all these knobs here, pretty much, you can assign to a macro. So to go into assign mode, just click on assign, and you can see here the assignment amount for all these knobs. So to reset it, just double click, and to set an assignment, you can go. That's positive assignment. You can also go negative. So in this, when I go down, the pitch goes up, etc. Pitch, I think. Pitch here is actually, it's not continuous pitch. It's actually octave. But I mean, you'll figure all this stuff out when you get into the weeds, so to speak. So that, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. You've got these 6 assign modes. You've got these 6 assign knobs, and you can just go into each one and set up assignments. And they toggle on and off as well. So do make sure that when you're tweaking stuff here, that you're not in an assign mode, because obviously you'll end up changing the assignments rather than changing the actual parameters. Then you've got the tweak knobs. So this, for kind of weird technical reasons that will probably be simplified in future, the way we had to do this was that you can't directly assign knobs to these tweak knobs. So you have to assign them to a macro knob, and then to assign a tweak knob. Now, be careful here, because the assign works slightly different for tweak knobs than it does for macro knobs. So with a tweak knob, it's a 1-to-1 assignment. So you click on assign, and let's say you want to assign it to level. You just click level, and now those knobs are linked both. Well, actually, you can see that's also linked to the same thing. But so you're not really, you can't set the amount that the tweak knob affects something. It's just they basically become the same knob. So let's say I'll assign that one there, assign that one there, and that one there. So so that's my amazing bass sound, and so I'm now going to append that to the bass preset saw. So that's my bass preset in there. So let's say I will now change it to make it an octave lower, or 2 octaves lower, and I'll give it a high pass filter instead. That's nice, dear. And I'll give it a sharp attack, and I'll append it there. So now I've got my 2 bass presets, and that one. And again, if you want to add a different sample, well, let's go for that 3 octave sub. Just drag that in again, drag it in there. And now we're a 3 octave sub, and then you can append that. It's another sound. And then let's say I wanted to begin to make a pack out of that. Edit the pack browser. That one in there, that one in there, and tell you what, there, and there. And then I'll append it as a pack. So there we go. There's my first pack with my first shit pack, world's first shit bass pack. And then I'll delete it, or could initialize it. So, I mean, basically, it's pretty much the same with the Notes engine. The only difference with the Notes engine is that it's polyphonic. Bass engine is monophonic. I think there are some very slight differences. I think in the Notes engine, the filter cutoff is pegged to the key frequency. I think, yep. Whereas in the bass engine, it is not, or it's the other way around or something. I can't remember. Not for any sensible reason at all, just for reasons of that's how it ended up being. So with the drums one, right, this is just like a random selection of drums that I put in there. So I won't go and build a whole drum pattern from scratch, but basically the way you add drum sounds here is you drag them in from wherever your file browser is, and you just drop them on the pad. You won't really see anything happen because there's no visual feedback on it, but you'll find that if you click the pad, you'll see, you'll see here, this is the name of the current sample, And so you'll see if you drop like fart sample 63 on here, then when you click it, you'll see fart sample 63 down there. And you've got a bunch of controls here, just like you do in notes and bass. The envelopes are slightly different on the drum modules, on the drums engine, because it's not ADSR, it's just AHR, so you can't, there's no hold, so you can't hold down, so the length doesn't change depending on how long you hold the pad, which was just one of those random decisions that I thought was a good idea at the time and might actually not be a good idea, but anyway, we can change that in the future. I mean, I think that pretty much covers all the basics. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff I've forgotten here. Some other things to say. So yeah, so there are 12 sounds up here. That is, we've kind of decided that that's going to be the de facto number of sounds that you get in a pack. There has also been some chat about drum packs having less sounds in them, because you basically get 16 sounds in a drum pack. But you know, I don't know. This is all up for grabs. And what else? Oh, you can also, here's with this button here, you can initialize the tweak knob assignments, so you can basically delete all the assignments so they're unassigned. So the process to export, let's say you've made a pack and you want to export it, this is where it gets complicated, and I think probably I'll just leave it out. I'll leave it out of this video for now, because you know, to leave it just like, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. But basically, you click this button here, and for those of you who understand Reactor in depth, it basically spits out all the data that we need to import that pack into Endless, into a table here, which we then save out. Basically, I won't get into it. I won't confuse you with it. But once you get the hang of it, it's fine. It just basically involves a little bit of sort of admin, building some spreadsheets with all the sample names, with the names of the tweak knobs, with the names of the sounds, and also, for example, in the drums, like which icons you want for each pad, etc. But it's doable, but I'd leave it out now. I think for the time being, so it's to give you a time frame of what we're currently planning, and again, this is like totally, this is sort of fairly up for grabs, but once we have the new interface design, the new interface design has a pack browser in there that will allow you to browse through different packs. And what we would like to do, so the ETA for that is probably a couple of months' time. And we would like that to have a few more sound packs in there. So basically, if you're interested in, you know, having a go at making some sound packs, then do have a go, and sort of drop us a line, drop me a line, if you've got some stuff, and then when it comes, you know, probably in like 4 or 5 weeks time, depending on the progress we've made, we could look at how to integrate, look at integrating some of these packs and including them maybe in our first sort of paid for bit of Endless. So we would also like to talk to you about how one would expect to be remunerated for such a thing, etc. So yeah, but for now, have some fun, make some packs, and let us know how you get on. I think this video is going to end up on YouTube, and I think it's going to end up unlisted, and I think there will be a link to the sound pack authoring tool in the description below. So there we go. Without further ado, thank you. And more soon.